It's the absolute worst thing about adulting. I mean, it's just every day. What do we do for dinner? Oh my God, I need to pack a lunch. We have no food in the house. I don't want to cook, but we have to eat. I cannot spend money on ordering Uber Eats anymore. So what do we do?
Welcome back and happy Tuesday, turkeys. How long have we known each other?
We've known each other for 2 decades.
I am not apologizing for who I am or what I like or the people that I love.
How do I be a wife? How do I be a mom? And how do I be myself and all of that? You didn't see that coming, did you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, look at our little mugs.
Happy witch season. Everyone, I left my branded mug at Kayla's house. Like an idiot.
I should just hold both of them up in the mornings.
Yeah, right? You can just, Kayla's got mine for me. Anyway, happy season of the witch, everyone. If you're me and October extends into November, I have my Sanderson Sisters shirt on. The Sanderson Museum, home of the Black Flame Candle. Hocus Pocus. Okay. Anyway.
Are you drinking your pumpkin spice?
Hell yeah. Nespresso pumpkin spice cake, I think is the flavor. With a little sprinkle of cinnamon on top.
Oh, I've never done that before.
AC turned down to pretend it's not 90 degrees outside. Let's fucking go. Okay. This week we are still adults, unfortunately. So I don't know. I think this is the perfect discussion because I love cooking. But
you're so good at it. And I'm so jealous. But I'm so happy for you.
But I do think I've gotten a system because as we continue to talk about, my life is routines, and I have just gotten to the point. I have done enough living that I have learned that if I don't keep a routine, I feel chaos, and then I get discombobulated, and then I get annoyed, and then I get decision fatigue, and then I do dumb things, and then I have treats for a week, and then it spirals quickly. So anyway, we're going to talk about weeknight meals, what works, what's not working. You specifically are feeding a child who's now eating real food, which I can't believe he's old enough.
Thought. I know. Crazy.
He's going to be driving tomorrow.
Hey, turkeys, real quick, we want to tell you about our fun new free craft corner. Every quarter, in line with the equinox or solstice, we are going to send out new farts and crafts projects. You can find the link in the show notes. Just drop us your email. We promise not to spam you, but we'd love for you to join us. Now back to the show.
But anyway, so you have some things on that you've learned because shout out you guys, Kayla's being so smart about it.
I appreciate it.
I'm so proud. Jason and I were we continuously talk about how you feed your baby, and we're both obsessed with it.
Well, I've got one thing. I feed him well, and I just don't feed ourselves well. So we got to work on that part.
Man, I don't know. I guess to kind of start the discussion, like what for you is hard for weeknight dinners, because I'm sure other moms will feel the same.
I think that whether you're a stay-at-home mom or a working mom, by the end of the day, you're exhausted. I guess for me, my biggest struggle has always been, even before our child, was coming home from a long, stressful day of work and just wanting to sit on the couch and not do anything. And so that's where meal prepping, I'll go in phases, which is super extremely helpful. But then I run into the problem of, on my days off, especially now, it's less easy to meal prep when I am chasing a toddler around the house. And sometimes I just want to enjoy my day. Meal prep to me feels very long and extensive, and I have to make sure I have all the ingredients, or shit, I've got to go to the store now. It's an extra trip. It feels like a lot of planning. And as much as I'm good at it in some circumstances, I have a hard time working my way back on, this is the ingredients I need, this is the day I'm going to do it, and then this is the pile of dishes I've racked up that now are going to sit there for a couple days because I'm already tired from meal prepping. Now I don't want to clean up. That's where I'm at, to be perfectly honest with you.
That's fair. It's a lot to do it all in one day. When you do that, are you blasting through like 5 days of stuff?
No, because I make a crap ton of stuff thinking this is a lot of food. This is all the time that I have, and I make so much. And in between Kenny and I, breakfast, lunch, dinner, it's like, oh, that lasted me 2 days. Shit me. I'm just like, yeah.
When you do that, are you making like whole meals? Like you're like making them so they're made?
I'll do like a couple crock pot meals or like a lasagna, like a dish type of thing. So those are kind of done. But then a lot of the time
Okay.
it's just prepping like the protein, maybe the carbs. I don't like to prep veggies for too long, but maybe cutting up the veggies, but that's about it.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
So
Now
I guess
my days off now consist of meal prepping for Caden, for my child, because I feel like that's more important, even though it's equally important to feed ourselves well. However, if I'm like, oh, I only have 3 hours, I should meal prep his stuff for the week because that's easier for me, and I can meal prep out a whole week for him in half a day ish. So
yeah, makes sense.
I just gotta get a better system.
How did you come up with your KK system?
I don't even know. I guess we went with the baby-led weaning approach. So we did not do like the rice cereal. We didn't do baby food that you would get in a container, like your quintessential baby stuff that you would think of. We went straight to like mashed avocados and cooked carrots pureed and cooked sweet potatoes pureed. And so it's kind of just evolved over time. Try to diversify his food, make sure he's getting enough protein, especially when I'll never forget. He was like 7, 8 months. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a big shoulder butt and we're gonna make sure it's all tender and shreddable between your thumbs. And that's what Caden or my son's gonna eat. And my mom's like, what? She told me later she had very high concerns about this, but did not say anything because she wanted to respect our decision.
I'm so proud of her. That would be
I
so
know.
hard.
I know. Her and my dad were just like, beef? Beef? Because when you think about giving a 9-month-old beef, it sounds a little weird. But if it's shreddable and soft enough, then you can. So we kind of went that route, and it's just evolved over time. I found some recipes on Instagram that are super easy, like 1 carrot, 1 egg, 1 banana, make them into pancakes. Super easy. He loves them. I love making sourdough waffles for him. It seems easy for me because he eats so little, and I don't have to be like, chicken, asparagus, mashed potatoes. It's like he can eat a thing of banana, a thing of avocado, some cottage cheese, and maybe some leftover shredded chicken from our stuff. It just seems less mealy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't stress me out as much.
That makes sense. I need you to explain to the people how you save your chicken, your freezer things, because I feel like that is just so, because from the outsider's perspective, I mean, I know what you're doing now, but from the outsider's perspective, I would be like, I'm working, how am I going to have time to cook a quarter of a chicken breast that my kids may be going or not going to eat, and then shred it up and then like come up with stuff? Because all of this, I think, goes back to decision fatigue, where all of us are tired and all of us are trying to cut down on the number of times we have to make a choice by the end of the day because we've run out of the ability to do that. So, because I know for me, like even Jason will be like, you don't have to cook. I know you're tired. Where do you want to eat dinner? And I'm like, you don't understand. I love the sentiment, but I don't even want to decide where we're going to get food from. Just put me in the car and take me somewhere. If I've hit that wall. And I'll get into how I save myself from making decisions later. But yeah, I want you to explain to the people, once you meal prep his food, what does that look like? Because I feel like this is so smart. And then you're not having to do cans and jars and pre-made stuff, which, whatever, preservatives, people can freak out about that. But I think just on a economical standpoint, it's way cheaper if you prep out whole actual foods that you buy from the store than buying all of that pre-made stuff, because that shit's expensive.
It's so expensive. So yes, what we do, I appreciate. This is the one thing we have figured out. So I'm very happy about this. So like going back to the pork shoulder example, I literally make that whole big one for the crock pot, and I say, this is all of his. I will make it with a little bit lower sodium bone broth or whatever, and this is his stuff. And so obviously there's an excess amount. So I'll shred it all up and then save, a little bit for the next couple days, but all the rest of it, we bought these silicone, they're almost like little ball or cube shaped things that you stick in the freezer. So I'll just divvy out portions for what he would have for a meal and put them in and then freeze them. And then the next day I'll pop them all out and put them in a Ziploc bag. So on the days where I'm looking at the container and I'm like, ooh, crap, I only have yogurt, some sourdough bread, some fruit. I need something else. I'll just grab one of those frozen balls, stick it in there so either my mom or Kenny or myself or our nanny can go in and pop it in the microwave for a little bit and eat it. So I've done that with all types of things like chicken and noodles, lasagna. I mean, anything you can think of that you make in a big batch, just put them in those little individual cubes, and that way I can pop them out and they're good to go. It's so easy.
It's
That's
so
been
smart.
a game changer. Yeah.
We need to link your little poppy silicone things.
They're so nice. I didn't think they were going to be that nice, and they like pop out so easily and they're easy to clean. It's magical.
Are they made for that, or did you come up, were they supposed to be for like popsicles or something?
I think they could be used for a certain type of ice cubes. I think people could use them for popsicles, but specifically I did shout out to, I forgot her YouTube channel. Maybe I can find it, but I did watch a video and she specifically suggested these are good for baby-led weaning freezer storage. So I got the idea from somebody else who was using this product for that reason. And then we got these pouches that they screw on and you can put a little funnel on top. And so I blend up his smoothies and I pour them into a pouch. So instead of buying, I love the pouches like for travel, but again, they're really expensive. And they say it's all organic, but like what's really in there? So I like knowing exactly what I put into the blender, blend it all up, pour it into little individual pouches like you would normally get. They're just homemade pouches, reusable. And then you stick a couple in the fridge, you stick the rest in the freezer, and then they last for a couple weeks. That's really nice too.
I love that you can freeze them. Are they hard to clean? That would be my only fear.
They're slightly annoying to clean and not the end of the world as long as you clean them right after they've been eaten and not let them sit there and harden.
I feel as though we've experienced this personally.
We have. We don't make that mistake anymore.
I think the freezer is also my biggest hack for life of meals. So I'm trying to figure out how I can explain this and conceptualize it in a form. Full transparency, have always enjoyed cooking as just a creative process. However, there have definitely been times and days and weeks of work where I don't care. I don't want to. No, like you talked about, I have a lot of decision fatigue by the end of the day, and I just don't want to have to make a choice. And I kind of recognized that I have to remove as many decisions from myself as humanly possible during the work week, or I'm not going to do things. So, I mean, and this plays out in a lot of forms of my life, to the point that like I lay out my workout clothes the night before for whatever type of workout I've decided I'm doing, because what I wear to run is different than what I wear if I do yoga in the mornings. And I will literally lay that out on my dresser because I'm a piece of shit in the morning and I don't want to do anything. So again, it's just like, well, it's there. Part of this goes back to me. We've talked before about me having too many rules and following them too closely, but this is where
blueberries can you eat in a day? Yeah.
This is where it is a pro-social behavior. But I will... Okay. So for food. So that is what I've identified as the biggest thing, is how can I not make a decision? I also think I have a good attitude about making food because I genuinely enjoy making a meal for someone else. Like when I'm by myself, I've noticed I'll just kind of willy-nilly, I'll eat eggs for dinner. I'll eat a can of tuna and then make a salad and then have cereal. Like, it's just a weird, I try to eat something healthy, but I don't get as anal retentive about it. But I really genuinely enjoy getting to make Jason dinner, which is very House of the Prairie. What is it? Not House of the Prairie.
House on
Little
the
House.
Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie. On or of, anyway. I don't know, there's just something about it. We like early on when we got together, because he can cook, he's good at cooking. He's probably more like you though, where it's just more of a necessary evil to the food that he wants to eat. He's also kind of a tornado, and he would if he were making meals, he would go to the grocery store every day to get the individual ingredients and then come home and make them. And we would end up with like 15 jars of the same spice because he wouldn't know that we have it. And that's just how his brain works. Like when we were dating, he would just get toilet paper all the time. I was like, don't you just want to have it in reserve on a schedule? So stressful. Anyway, never have we ever had one roll of toilet paper in this house since I've been a part of it. But
thank God.
What? I poop way too like frequently for us to be riding that line. Anyway, so because I like cooking and because I'm hyper organized, I think it just worked out for me to take over. I know my personality well enough to know that if he, one, tried to require me to make meals, I mean, he would never, but if this were like some head of the household that you need to make dinner shit, I would have a real piss poor attitude about it. I would also have a really bad attitude about it if it was like an expectation of his. I think I would also not feel great if I knew that he was not capable. Mm-hmm. But none of those are the case. So I selected my partner well, I think, to not have these issues because the outcome is the same. I'm still cooking, but okay. So the biggest thing, like I said, is getting rid of decisions. And so for me, I nerd alert write down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on a little piece of paper on my refrigerator and what we're eating. The main dish and the sides, because again, I don't want to think about it. Excuse me. And then the other thing I found that's been helpful is I don't meal prep. I don't make stuff on the weekends because like you said, I don't really want to make a giant mess, but I will meal plan. So I guess maybe that's the difference in what our processes are.
What day are you making your list? And then when in this process are you going to the store and making sure you have everything you need? And when are you thawing the meat out? Because that always F's me up. Because I'm like, I'm ready to make dinner. I'm like, crap, I forgot to take the chicken out. And then I'm like, fuck it, let's order something.
Right. Usually now I have a weird schedule because I work 4 10-hour shifts. So I'm able to do a lot of this on Monday, which is kind of like a bonus day off for me. But before, when I was doing normal Monday through Friday, I was doing this on Saturday or Sunday, just depending on like what we're doing, if the weather's poopy. Anyway, it was just non-negotiable that it got done before my work week started because I was not doing this on a weeknight. I don't like who I am at the grocery store at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm not a nice person.
So you're making the list either the day before or the same day of then going to the grocery store.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. So I will say that some of this is easier for me, maybe because I've been doing it for a while and I just have the brain that memorizes stuff. Like I just know where stuff is in my kitchen and I know what we have. I think it's a function of shopping and cooking. And so I'm just kind of aware as we run out of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'll make a list of what I'm going to make. I use Pinterest to find recipes. I have sort of some go-to things. This is where, I'm a planner. So if I think we're going to be doing something on an evening night, I'm going to make sure it's a slow cooker meal that night so that it's already done. But I'll go through and make what I'm going to do. Then I'll kind of sit there and look in my cabinets. What ingredients do I have? What do I already have? That might determine, like, if I've got potatoes or some vegetable, I might try to put that into the mix on Monday. So I'm using it up. And then I'll make my grocery list on my iPhone's list app based on what I need, because you can just hit the buttons and it checks the box for you based on what I need for those meals. So I have also cooking for 2 people, so I'm not going to I don't know how to cook that small. So a lot of what I'm doing is similar to what you're doing. It's just for the adult food where I will make let's say I make a big pan of lasagna. We're eating maybe half of it or a third of it. I cut the remaining part into big chunks, put them in freezer bags or the food storage sucky bags and put them in the freezer. And now that I've done that enough, I have rolling freezer meals. So I'm usually only making something brand new 2 to 3 times a week. And the other days I'm pulling and thawing. And since I have my forecast right on my freezer, kind of just become part of my nighttime routine. Like when I go to shut stuff off at night in the kitchen, I just look and say, and I've even written myself notes like Monday or, like Tuesday, chicken tacos, parentheses, thaw chicken. Like I treat weekday Kaylee like an imbecile when I write this out.
That's smart because literally my problem again, like, yes, crock pot meals, amazing. Now, when do I think of making a crock pot meal? The morning of, when I have frozen meat. So my issue is planning. So I think I just definitely need to make a list. My other problem is my goal is to have so much leftovers that I can freeze them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For us, it's like, okay, I did just expend all this energy. I'm making a big thing of lasagna, let's say, because that's just what's in my head right now. What are you doing for lunch the next day? And then I'm like, well, I got a win last night. We should just eat this again tomorrow night. And we go through the whole thing without freezing it because we've eaten it for dinner, lunch, dinner, where I should maybe just freeze half. Because Kenny also doesn't like to have leftovers like that every day in a row. My biggest thing is what the heck to do for lunch the next day if we don't have enough. And why do I just keep eating all of it over a couple days and not freezing?
I mean, it just depends what you do for lunch. I'm not a big lunch girly. So
you don't eat lunch at all?
Well, I do, but I don't like to eat leftovers for lunch. And
You're
Jason's
like doing
not
like
big on
a
it either.
salad or a sandwich, like something different and new for the day type of thing?
Yeah, and lighter. Because usually my dinners are pretty heavy and I just can't eat heavy like that, and neither can Jason. So he's big. I've learned ADHD people hyperfixate on things. So he'll get like a lunch hyperfixation, and that's what he'll eat for months on end. And then he'll switch to something else. So he's easy. Like for a while it was tuna. Like I'd make him, or he'd make himself a tuna set, like, mix up the tuna, whatever, in a container, and he'd bring some crackers, and that's what he'd have.
Sounds yummy.
I know, right? Now he's on, he's on just like a normal lunch meat sandwich. Anyway, I made myself like adult Lunchables for a long time for lunch. So I would get lunch meat and maybe some cheese, nuts, fruit, and then pack that for lunch. I don't know, hard-boiled eggs. I just tend to do like cold, easy, I don't have to think about them things. So I don't know. Our lunchies might be a little different. But the other thing I've learned, which this might be helpful for you, is if I cook a big ass thing of protein, using it across the days for different things. Because I don't like eating the same thing twice in a row. It really annoys me. I don't know. That might just be my problem. But I've done it where, let's even say on Sunday. It's Sunday. We want to grill something. We're going to have chicken thighs for dinner. I will grill like 4 packs of chicken. That's an exaggeration. I will grill a butt ton of chicken thighs. And then the next day, I'm going to chop those up and we're going to have burrito bowls with that grilled chicken. And then I'll freeze the other ones for a different meal. Or I'll slow cooker a bunch of chicken breasts, and then we'll have that one night as like gyros, because I'll just mix in some Greek seasoning and I'll, buy flatbreads or whatever, and we'll do that. And then the next night I'll make burrito bowls. Everything turns into a burrito bowl. Last night I made meatloaf. Tonight we're gonna have meatloaf sandwiches, because I just made a huge one, and then tonight I'll chop them into slices, and then I'll melt cheese over the top and put some onions. And
I've never thought about that.
Yeah, I try to like reuse whatever we're doing later, because the protein cooking is always the longest one.
I hate it so much. We've already talked about this. I just don't like the protein part.
And I know that's your sadness. So for you, I would say, like, even if you made a giant pork shoulder and had barbecue sandwiches one night, then you could have like mix it with chipotle seasoning and have carnitas tacos the next night.
See, that's such an easy revelation that I've just never thought of. I just don't think that way, this is good. This is good for me.
I don't know. I like repeating. I like pulling things apart and doing them that way, because to my brain, it's just more simple. And then you've already made the biggest thing. So then that's done. Anyway, like I said, I know I'm a huge nerd alert, but maybe for you, since prepping, there's people, maybe prepping all day that does sound horrible. So doing something where you can make a slow cook or something and then have that as the protein in the meal the next night. So at least like 2 nights are covered for you. If you made a big enough protein, you could probably drag it out for 3.
Not with the way Kenny eats protein.
I guess it depends how big your slow cooker is. But if you had like a big 7 or 8 pound pork butt or like 2 mega butts.
Yeah, we're not going to go through that. Yeah.
Or like a super brisket.
A super brisket. I like
right?
That.
Or I've done it too, like the days that you're off, make like a giant pot roast. Then you have pot roast that night. Then you have all this beef that you can shred for whatever beef meal you want to do later.
I like the way you think. Yeah, this is good. It's getting my brain working. I need to make the list. That's the most important part for me. Make the list, make a note, like Monday, take out the chicken for tomorrow morning. Because that is the thing that I miss. And if I don't do it ahead of time, I just won't do it. I'll just be like, I guess I'm going to take out chicken for tonight. And then I get home and I stare at the chicken. I'm like, what do I do with the chicken?
There's nothing that makes me more sad than having frozen protein that I need to thaw for the meal that I'm about to eat. Because it's so gross and annoying and long. And then I feel like it's half cooked and half raw. And
yeah, you know how many times I've stuck, like, especially with beef, it's a little easier for me to thaw quicker if I'm going to make hamburgers. The amount of times I've had to put the beef in a bowl and try to run lukewarm water over it to not to cook it, but also to thaw it as fast as humanly possible. It's like, it's embarrassing how many times I've had to do that.
It gives me rage. So yeah, that would be my biggest tip is just treat yourself like an idiot and make a dum-dum list on your day off. I do it on my day off because I have in the morning because I have the most brain power. I'm the most motivated. You know what I mean? All of that. And then, I don't have to think about it. So I just come home and I just do what the list says. Sometimes there are days when I feel really shitty, or if I'm sick, or I'm trying to think. I had a really horrible period like the last cycle, and I just felt really, really drug out. So those might be days where I'll come home and just be like, I don't want to cook. And we'll go get something. And it's not a big deal, but I try to live by the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time I try to follow the routine or the healthy habit or whatever. And then I've got 20% for, fuck around time. But I feel better when I don't eat out. It saves me money, because then there's all of that kind of stuff. So if I can kind of make it my majority of the time, and for me, if I can just say, well, this is what I'm doing, it's only going to be 20 or 30 more minutes. I don't have to make a decision. Everything's right here. I have the ingredients. I made myself a dummy list to tell me what to do. It usually, it makes it a lot less aggravating. And then the more that you do it, I feel like the more you know what's in your kitchen, the more you end up with a variety of ingredients that are easy to reuse, the more you end up having a back stock of frozen. So that, I don't know, for me, that's really nice. And I'll just kind of know okay, we're going to have this leftover chili tomorrow, so I need to thaw it tonight. And I'll just pull it out and throw it in the fridge. And it doesn't, that part's not that wretched.
Yeah. No, this is super helpful. I think my only other hang up sometimes is like you mentioned a gyro. I don't have Greek seasoning, nor do I know what else goes into that. I love them, but to me, it's like, okay, I probably need to look up a recipe real quick. Any type of recipe, besides the ones that you graciously sent me, I hate them. Because that's the other thing. I think it just takes a little bit of time when you do try new recipe, because I know you have a lot memorized, or you can look at something real quick and then be a little bit more creative with it. This is when you are starting out and you have to look at the recipe. Okay, 2 tablespoons. Okay. Tablespoon. Okay. 1 teaspoon. And it just takes 5 times longer. And I want to cry. And I love that you love Pinterest, but I absolutely hate Pinterest because you have to scroll 10,000 pages to get to the fucking recipe. So that's why I use YouTube a lot. But then it's me going, rewind, pause, wait, rewind. What did she do?
I think some of it's the more you do it, the easier it gets.
I know, it is. It's true.
like with Pinterest, that Euro recipe, that's a recipe I read. I think my friend Erin sent to me forever ago. It was like you put a bunch of chicken breast in a slow cooker with chicken broth, squeeze a lemon. I've just bought like a shaker of, it said Greek seasoning, shake that in there, cut up an onion, throw it all in there, leave it alone for the day. Yeah. And then I think it recommended, you get like that tzatziki sauce or however you say it, and flatbreads. But I did that about 500 times and now I know what I need for it. Slow cooker feels like this kind of magical thing where you can't really mess it up. And we've talked about that. Half of it is just that if you look and it says 2 tablespoons, you just think to yourself, not too much, but not a teeny bit.
Yeah. The crock pot and slow cooker stuff, I think, would be the biggest win in our household as far as the cooking of it. The problem in this household is someone in this household who I love with everything that I have doesn't really love one big meal, like a casserole style thing or a bowl type of thing. My loving husband likes to have a separate protein, separate carb, separate vegetable. So this whole like mush mash thing that he comes home to in the crock pot, he's like, I love you. Yes, I'll eat it, but it's not my favorite. And so I think doing maybe a crock pot meal, but turning it into sandwiches or turning it into tacos, putting the mushy mush into something to make it not a mush. That is what I need to just be more creative with and make a list, because he would like that. I just have to think of those things.
I think that's what's helpful. And like, again, not everyone's going to use Pinterest. I like it because now I've got enough saved recipes where I'll just click. I'm like, okay, I know I have beef. So I'll click on my beef meals board. I'm not going to go read all those recipes again because they also make me want to die with about how, Nana raised cows and their hooves. But I can scroll and read and be like, oh yeah, I remember when I made those little meatballs, or oh, I remember that. And then it'll just trigger my memory of, okay, I'll do this. But for you, even like on your day off, make like a giant pan of meatballs. And then you can have, because boiling noodles and making spaghetti, whatever, that's easy. But then you already have a protein that's available. Yeah. And pull out however many y'all are going to eat.
Sub situation. Okay. I like this. This is getting my brain going.
Yeah. And then too, like the days that you are going to slow cooker, like you could prep slow cooker meals with all the raw ingredients and put that in the freezer. And then if you're reminding yourself to pull that out, then in the morning you just dump it in the slow cooker and start it.
Right. True.
Versus having them fully made, because that's pain. That's a lot. I would die if I had to fully make a week's worth of meals on one day.
It's just not possible.
No, that's not fun.
I don't have enough containers for that.
That too. I know it's probably not healthy, but I use a lot of freezer bags. I dump things in there. I fold them over. They go in the freezer. I let them freeze, and then I can stack them. Anyway, you already have the system for KK. I feel like it'll just take a few tweaks for you to be able to switch it over to you.
Yeah. Yep. I like it. This is helpful.
Anyway, we need to wind it down. I could talk about nerd alert organizing all day. It's just the tip. We are doing a shameless plug for Just the Tip this week. Kayla made an amazing budget. I am going to make a week's worth of weeknight meals. No BS, no backstory weeknight meals, and a corresponding grocery list and to-do list for you. A dummy list, if you will.
I love it. I'm going to use it.
It's going to come out on the equinox, which I think might be it's the 22nd of September.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
No, next Sunday.
Okay. So we'll drop that for you. That's going to be in lieu of our craft corner this month. So our shameless plug is just sign up for our craft corner, because then you'll get our fun little nerd alert adulting tools.
Yes, you can sign up now for the adulting tools, or you can wait till the equinox, but honestly, they'll be available. So just anytime you want to drop your email, they'll be there.
Because, as I like to say, no, it's not. I didn't make this up. It's that whole concept of why would you reinvent the wheel? Like if somebody already has something that's working, just take it, use it, adjust it to how you need it. We don't have the same kind of communities that our foremothers had of a village. So I don't know. We'll just use the internet and we'll try to help each other out. Tell us what works for you for cooking, what's not working, what tips do you have, because I'd also love to learn from other people. And for those of you who have bigger kiddos, tell us what that's like, because that'll be on Kayla's horizon sooner than
they eat a lot.
Yeah, right. The big boys and the mediums, the like pre-tweens. Anyway, Until next week.
Love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye. It got really loud in my headphones and my earballs fell out.
I liked it. I need to pull out some meat.